Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of your Westland City Council to order. We'll begin tonight's meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilwoman Baumann.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Baumann.
Here.
Councilman Hart.
Here.
Councilman Hornbuckle.
Here.
Councilwoman Rakowski is absent, excused. Councilman Wishart.
Here.
Pro Tem Sampe.
Here.
President McDermott.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We have no special announcements or presentations tonight, so we will now move on to questions or input on the agenda from the public. This section will allow members of the public at the beginning of the meeting to address the council regarding items that are on tonight's business agenda. Questions may be asked and responded to during the agenda item following a motion in support from your Westland City Council. Is there anyone on my left? Yes, Ms. Wilson.
Okay, I'm 70 years old, remember this now. I wanted to know, this approval of the independent contractors agreement with Chris, whatever, to resume his duties, why did he stop doing taking care of these things? And if he's acting as a city ordinance inspector and animal control, why isn't he just hired in by the city? I mean, is there a different cost for somebody who is being contracted than there is for somebody that is hired in? I know benefits and all, but That's my question.
Okay, great, thank you. Is there anyone else on my right? Anyone else in the audience, citizens' questions on the agenda? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will close citizens' comments on the agenda and move to the consent calendar. Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion from Councilman Hart. There is support from Councilman Wishart. Are there any changes to the consent calendar? Yes, Councilwoman Baumann.
I move to move item A and B off to new business, please.
There's a motion to move item A and B off the consent calendar, new business. Is there support?
Support.
There's support from Councilman Hornbuckle. All right, Mr.
I'm
Clerk.
sorry, who supported?
Councilman Hornbuckle.
Got it.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Baumann,
Yes.
Councilman Hart,
Yes.
Councilman Hornbuckle,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rakowski is absent excused, Councilman Wishart,
Yes.
Pro Tem Sampe,
Yes.
President McDermott.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay.
Items A and B will be new business 1A and 1B.
Back to the original motion on the consent calendar. Are there any changes to the consent calendar? Any changes to the consent calendar? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing and seeing none, motion passes.
Council has approved the following consent calendar items. Approval of purchase of one automatic transfer switch for the new Fire Station Number 2 project in the amount of $16,270. Adoption of ordinance 22785, an ordinance to repeal the ordinances that require city soil erosion control permitting found at Article 4, Soil Erosion, Sedimentation, and Land Grading Control, Section 42101-120. This item had been introduced October 7, 2024. Last item approved on the consent calendar, approval of a request from the Westland Goodfellows to waive the monthly rental fee of $50 indefinitely for a rental space at the Jefferson Barnes Community Vitality Center. Moving to payment of voucher.
Is there,
Support.
there's a motion by Councilman Hart, supported by Pro Tem Sampe. Is there any discussion from the maker? Any discussion from the supporter? Any additional discussion from the council? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries.
New business, item 1, approval of minutes of the regular meeting held October 7, 2024.
So moved. Support.
There's a motion by Councilwoman Baumann. There is support by Pro Tem Sampe. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Baumann,
Yes.
Councilman Hart,
Abstain due to absence?
Councilman Hornbuckle,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rakowski is absent excused, Councilman Wishart,
Yes.
Pro Tem Sampe,
Yes.
President McDermott.
Yes.
Motion passes. New business, item 1A. Approval of amended Michigan Mutual Aid Box Alarm System Association Agreement granting the Westland Fire Department the ability to give and receive support from other communities across the state of Michigan during emergencies.
So moved.
Support.
There's a motion by Councilman Hart. There is support by Councilwoman Baumann. Is there any discussion from the maker?
Not at this moment.
And there looks like there is discussion from the supporter. Yes, Councilwoman.
Through the chair, I would like to just give Chief Stamper an opportunity to kind of just speak to this a little bit, because as I understand, it was 10 years ago that this first agreement was done, and it's a little bit different, but it's not different. So I just want to have him give an opportunity to speak on it, please.
Sure, if I can, through the chair. It's no different, actually. So this is more so a formality than anything else. We did sign this in 2014. At the time, though, all 23 communities in Western Wayne County signed one signature page. I was appointed as the executive board member representing Western Wayne County on Mavis this past year, and they just asked, since every other county in Michigan, each community signed an agreement, they asked if we would do the same thing to just keep some consistency within that program. So Mavis is a statewide mutual aid system designed to cover liability and authority to give and receive mutual aid both interstate and out of state, within all the fire departments that signed this document. So some examples of times this has been used in the last few years, the Menominee paper mill fire 3 years ago that required resources from across the state of Michigan. Last year, the Michigan State University shootings, we used EMS, including Westland in that one. And then most recently during the Super Bowl weekend. So it provides some benefits that we can't handle. If we can't handle some type of natural or man-made disaster, allows us to gain those resources, specifically like hazardous materials response and urban search and rescue responses, which are low frequency, kind of high manpower requirements, things that really each community individually wouldn't be able to afford on their own. So it brings kind of all those resources together. So again, this is just re-signing that same document. The document is the same as it was in 2014. It's just each community signing their own. Any other questions?
I am supporting this. I just wanted to have that spoken to.
Great, thank you, Councilwoman. Is there any other questions from the council? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries.
New business, item 1B. Approval of independent contractor agreement with Chris Spara to resume his duties acting as city ordinance inspector and animal control officer for the city of Westland. Term of the agreement shall be for a 2-year period commencing immediately at a rate of $36 per hour.
So moved.
Support? There is a motion by Pro Tem Sampe, supported by Councilman Hornbuckle. Is there any discussion from the maker?
Thank you, Council President. So Mr. Esparza has been with the city for quite some time. I know he's been in this role, but there was a question from Ms. Wilson on the difference of the agreement if he started and stopped the agreement, and then the hourly rate. So I don't know if it can be addressed by the administration on his role, his agreement, and what that looks like moving forward.
Yep, Director Smith.
Through the chair, yes, this says resume, but it's actually a renewal. He has not stopped working as the ordinance officer, so, and it's at the price of $36 per hour. It's the same as the last contract was, so the cost has not changed at all, so.
Thank you, Director Smith, for that update. Hopefully that answers the questions, Ms. Wilson.
Is that? All right, is there any discussion from the supporter?
Yeah, the only thing, after hearing this comment, can we change resume to renewal? Just change the verbiage for later on.
Do you want to make that, are you making a motion to change that language
Make
now?
it friendly and we'll do it.
Make it friendly, okay. All right, I will jot that down, Councilman, thank you. Is there any other discussion from the council? Any other discussion? Yes,
I guess I just want to
Councilman.
clarify, so, and maybe I'm misunderstanding the question too. So he's an employee of the city, or it's a contract?
Contract.
It's a contract, okay, so it's not direct employee. Okay.
Right, so he's their ordinance is contracted.
And it's on his own or through another, just totally on his own?
He's contracted through his own.
Okay, so not, okay, thank you.
Councilman, do you have a question?
I just want to verify, his last contract pay was $35?
That's,
Through the chair, $36, it's the same.
Thank you.
Yep.
okay, yep, all set? Do you have a? Okay, any other question, any other discussion from the council? Any other discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing and seeing none, motion passes.
New business, item 2. Approval of minutes of the study session held October 7, 2024.
Is there a motion? Is there support? Support. There's a motion by Councilman Wishart. There is support from Councilman Hornbuckle. Is there any discussion from the maker? Any discussion from the supporter? Any additional discussion from the council? Your light's on, it says. No discussion. Oh, okay, sorry. Oh, it flashed on there. Mr. Clerk, roll call?
Councilwoman Baumann.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
Abstain due to absence?
Councilman Hornbuckle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rakowski is absent excused. Councilman Wishart.
Yes.
Pro Tem Sampe.
Yes.
President McDermott.
Yes.
Motion passes. New business, item 3, confirmation of reappointment of Robert Kelly to the Downtown Development Authority for a 4-year term effective upon council confirmation and to expire October 19, 2028.
So moved.
There's a motion by Councilman Hart. There is support from Councilman Wishart. Is there any comments from the maker? No, sir. Okay. Any comments from the supporter?
Just thank you for applying for this.
Great. Did the administration have anything they wanted to add?
Sure. Mr. Kelly couldn't be here this evening, but he's been a longtime member on the DDA and is currently the chairperson of the DDA.
Okay. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Is there any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing and seeing none, motion passes.
New business, item 4, approval of letter of agreement between the Westland professional firefighters and the city of Westland.
Is there support? Support. Here's a motion by Councilwoman Baumann. There is support from Councilman Hornbuckle. Are there any discussion? Okay. Any discussion from the supporter? Is there any additional discussion from the council? Yes, Pro Tem.
Thank you. So I wanted to just bring things to light on the contract, just because there are some things, as I'm looking at the letter of agreement right now, that I wanted Chief to highlight. So my biggest concern, which I told Chief, was that we are bringing in quite a bit of basics. We're filling the gap, I'm assuming to fill the SAFER grant. However, the paramedics have to train the basics at $1 an hour difference. So they get $1 an hour bump. So if I'm not looking at this objectively, which I am, to me it seems like the city's getting a bargain because they're doing the training of basic work, and the paramedics are the ones that have to chart, do all of the testing, administer all of the medical. So that's a lot. That's a lot on them. So I guess the questions through the chair to the chief is, A, I know the union voted on this, but, you know, what type of burnout, chief, do you anticipate? Like, this is a lot of additional work for them. And then from a EMT basic, are we bringing in people that are newly basic EMTs that are transfers? Or are you anticipating that these will be people that we're putting through the academy, hoping that, you know, that they do stay? Because based on the contract here, it looks like if they leave before 3 years, that they have to pay back their reimbursement to the city for the academy, because we are putting them through the academy. So it's a big, obviously, investment, but I'm going to defer to you, Chief, to maybe give some highlights. You know, you and I did talk about this. Am I excited about this? No, but I know where you're trying to go, so I respect the fact that we need to bring people in. It just seems like a lot of extra work on our current guys that are the busiest department in town.
If I may, yeah, so I guess I'll lead with this by saying that I'm sure if the council chooses to give them more, I don't think that the firefighters would turn that down. This was like kind of a decision we made through some negotiation and trying to have some fiscal responsibility. But again, you know, I'm all for giving them whatever you guys want to give them. But we came to that 5% kind of additional for the additional kind of workload that they get as paramedics working with a basic EMT. This is really to lay the foundation probably for negotiations that will be up in or upcoming here for this contract ends July of next year. So that was to lay the groundwork, and then also in addition to that, fix a couple of the other issues. As you know for sure, you guys did an LOA last year to change some kind of pay scale stuff and did some stuff to bring some paramedics over to the department. However, the language that got put into that wasn't exactly, it didn't do exactly what we wanted to do. So it cleans up that piece of language, which I think is very important going forward, so that maybe we can bring in some more paramedics and not have to bring in any more EMTs. I don't want to say anything negative about the EMTs, though, because they are all working towards their paramedic license. That's the end goal for everyone. You know, they do a good job at that EMT level. It does require that they pay some monies back if they, the EMTs are to get their paramedic license and then leave the department within 3 years. There's a 1 year kind of payment from that, a 2 year payment, and a 3 year payment. And that is just so we don't become a training ground for paramedics. I don't want to do that. So that adds that piece into there. And then there's just some kind of day-to-day operation stuff that some the union wanted and some I wanted, just to make the day-to-day kind of operations a little bit smoother. So yeah, we came to that kind of 5% agreement with some, again, some fiscal responsibility there. But again, I think they're open to more if you guys want to give them more.
Yeah, thanks, Chief, on that. Yeah, I mean, I guess I just look, if you have a medical emergency, the difference of having someone that can administrate meds on the spot to having someone that is basic, that can just do your baseline vitals, to me, makes it a disservice to the community. Because if you're having a heart attack or, you know, you are in cardiac arrest, if you have a basic there, they only can do so much. So that's my only concern, is that we are bringing in a lot of basics, using it, like you said, as a training ground. And I do believe that, you know, we're trying to get to the level that is going to get us to a full staff capacity, and we only can do so much. So I do get that. But having them get an equivalence of $1 raise per se to take on additional responsibility, to chart, to have them basically run the show, it's a lot. I think it's a lot on their shoulders. So, I mean, obviously, we would love to give them more. I know you guys have the contract negotiations, but just to kind of, to my colleagues, like, we really need to look at that if we want to continue to preserve and have the brightest and the best. I mean, I'm okay with this, you know, LOA, but I think as we start to look at June and 2025, like, we need to start to consider all things and make sure that they're paid appropriately. So that's what I'll say.
Thank you, Pro Tem. Is there any additional discussion from the council? I do have one question for you, Chief. Just so the community knows this, individuals who come in as a basic EMT have a certain time period with which they have to become a fully licensed paramedic, do they not?
They do. That's a part of their probationary time. So we changed that a little bit in here too, because we hired some basic EMTs, and because of some grant monies that were out there, the paramedic programs, the schools with paramedic programs are holding back on starting those until after those grants were awarded. So we extended that part out. It's about a 16-month program to get in and out of there. So, I mean, really, in all honesty, we have a handful of paramedics that are finishing up between the end of this month and the end of November, or the end of next month. So that will kind of bring down the number of people that we'll have like this, and then the rest of those guys will finish. They started in October, so 16 months from there-ish, and then really this should go away for the most part until, you know, we hire somebody to fill that. Maybe we can't hire a paramedic and we have to hire an EMT again, but you know, I think it's been beneficial. It really has, the EMT program. We have more staffing than some of these other cities around us that haven't moved to that kind of EMT hiring piece. So I think there's some benefit there that needs to be understood as well. But yeah, it's a 16-month program, and we've extended that kind of probationary period to get that done.
Great.
Hopefully that answered your question. I know
It did, yeah. Thank you,
long-winded
Chief.
rant to answer your question.
No, I appreciate that. Just wanted to get some answers for the community on kind of how that process and program works. Is there any additional discussion from the council? Any additional discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries. All right, we are on to public comment. All right, we will now move on to public comment. Everyone speaking before the council shall do so in a civil manner. Speakers shall refrain from abusive or profane remarks, vulgar language, disruptive outbursts, threats, racial slurs, or other conduct that interferes with the orderly conduct of the business meeting. Personal attacks on council members, the administration, city staff, other speakers, or members of the public will not be tolerated. The clock will start upon the first words of the speaker and will not stop while the speaker is recognized from the floor. The speaker can ask questions during the speaker's allotment of time. However, the clock will not be stopped once it is started. The clock will continue to run until the 3 minutes is up or the person is done speaking, whichever comes first. Is there anyone on my left? Ms. Hines, I see you standing up.
Good evening, council. A couple of things. I'm with the Westland Board of Education. We would definitely like to help you guys with the firefighters. We do have the training facility over at the William D. Ford Technical Center, so we are getting these kids certified when they come out. Our criminal justice program should be in effect sometime next year. We're working on that. Two, I'm the new president of the Westland Kiwanis, and we definitely are looking for some participation with the, Westland City Council. We partner with HYPE and Westland Schools. We meet on the second Wednesday of the month over at the Westland Library. So we have a meeting November the 12th at 3:15 at the Westland Library, and then the second one we'll probably have like a dinner at US 12. That'll be November the 26th. And quickly, we have the community coffee hour with the superintendent. We definitely would like you guys to come over at the Career Technical Center at 9:30. I'm talking with the principal over at the Career Technical Center because I want you guys to do a tour to see what it is over there. It's an amazing facility, and we have to get that out to the public and, the council members, because we definitely want you to see that. And I'm trying to think if that's it. And then, we have a school board meeting coming up. It's going to be on November the 18th. And we did have a clerical error with the budget, so we found the money. Hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. So it was a clerical error, so that's all situated. It was a clean finding with Planner Moran, so I'm just excited to bring the good news.
Great. Thank you, Melanie. Is there anyone else on my left wishing to speak? Yes, Ms. Dasha.
Hi, good evening. Deputy Mayor and Council. My name's Deanna Stachow, a resident of Westland, but also resident of the Holiday Park. I am here to thank Councilman Mike McDermott and Deputy Mayor Jim Gadabout for taking care of a horrendous problem that we had with the flooding in our subdivision. We have over 600 residents in our area. They were all out of water. We had a flow that was just, the cement was coming up and waterfalls all over the place. And with no time at all, we had them out coming out at about 1:30 in the morning, taking care of, making calls. And I really, really, really have to thank you so much on behalf of the Holiday Park residents for taking care of that, because as you all know, even being without water for a short time is terrible. So I thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to speak? Public comment? Mr. Warren.
Good evening tonight. I'm approaching the council on two levels. One as the chairperson of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, as the chair, and as the president of the Southeast Westland Homeowners Association. The other night I attended the development of the master plan for the connectivity of the parks and sidewalks for the city of Westland. And as I listened to the commission talk and discuss, and the McKenna and Associates are leading this, and looked at their maps. They had about 10 maps out there, and none of them had Stoudemire Park or Firefighters Park on it. None of them. None of the commissioners even discussed the question of inclusion of Stoudemire Firefighters Park. So I know that the city pays McKenna and people in the past like Ohm and Ms. Wilson and I have been to a lot of these meetings, sticking stickers up on the wall, talking about connectivity to the southeast part of Westland, where the homeowners reside. I know this is just a plan, but the whole thing is to be even left out of the plan by these people you pay a lot of money to. And I looked at some of the criticisms about McKenna. They have a tendency to put a whole lot of hours and bill you for them, and you get very little for it. So, my position here is this, is that I don't think it was an accident leaving out the south end of Westland. The commissioners couldn't figure out how to get from Voss Park to Stoudemire Park, when both of them are practically on Henry Ruff. All you do is just go south for a couple minutes, make a left-hand turn on Julius, then make another left-hand on Dancer, and you're right in the park. And if you want to go to Firefighters Park, you just take the blacktop east through Stoudemire Park on Paul Street, and you're on Firefighters Park. That wasn't even on the map. Nobody could figure out how to get there. But these are the folks who are making decisions for connectivity, McKenna, and the Parks Commission. Conveniently left out the Afro-American community, and I got a problem with it. I really have a serious problem with it. So ultimately, in the end, council will be the ones who approve this tentative master plan. And I hope that council members, even thinking now to give me an answer whether the Southeast Westland situation
Thank you, Mr. Warren.
should be included
Your time
in the
is up.
master plan.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll be back on the 18th.
Is there anyone? Yes, Ms. Wilson.
Okay, I'm gonna continue on the same thing. There, once again, the southeast corner is being left out of city progress. If we can't even get you to walk down there, I know you're not gonna drive down there because you ain't been down there. They took out the speed humps. Oh yeah, I'm the speed hump lady. It is a racetrack down there on Julius. Mike, you saw it when you were down there with us knocking doors. You saw it. They took them up, and that's all she wrote. Once again, I'm gonna ask you, either police, somebody, come down there and do a little time down there, as much as time as you do north of Michigan Avenue in Lower Wayne. Come down to Annapolis Park. Come down to Carver Sub. We got issues too, more than you think, because you don't come down and you don't know about it, because you don't see it. And to have a police officer sit on the corner of Dancy and Julius for 20, 25 minutes, and I clocked it. That is not police protection. Coming down Henry Ruff and going straight down Henry Ruff to Van Born, that's not police protection. We expect more. I mean, is it just the taxes you want from us down there to furnish things up north? Or do you really want us to be part of the city? Because as it stands right now, with the park situation, the police, the speeding, you don't want us to be part of the city. You want us to pay to be in it. And that's all I see.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to speak?
Good evening, Council. David Polite, President of the Westland Professional Firefighters, as well as a resident here in Westland. I appreciate the vote on the letter of agreement tonight. It's not necessarily about any money. It's really, there's a lot of working parts to that help the operational piece of it. So thank you for working with us on that, because it is a lot to deal with when we're dealing with these dynamic changes of dealing with making this department not a mediocre department, but one of the best, and I stand by that. Our firefighters work very hard, and per capita, we are one of the busiest cities in Michigan. So a lot of this is going to address some things and get us where we need to be. So working with the chief, the administration, I appreciate everything you guys do and the staunch support that you all and the community has for us. So again, thank you, and I guess we'll see you in negotiations. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else in the audience, public comment? Yes, Mr. Satcher.
I'll start here because I want to keep it short in respect for City Clerk LeBlanc and what he has to put up with tomorrow, and what he's put up with for the last 8 or 9 days. Dan Stachow, Westland, Michigan. Again, I'd like to thank Deputy Mayor Godbout, Council President Mike McDermott for coming out there 1:30 in the morning and take a look at the situation and get it resolved as soon as possible. And the gentleman that took time off from his vacation to come back into work. That's greatly appreciated. Also, I attended the Veterans Breakfast at Friendship Center this morning. Pardon me, please. Anyway, I attended the Friendship Center breakfast for veterans this morning. A well-attended venue, probably had 30 people in attendance. Like to see more there, but you can only do so much, and if people don't want to partake, that's the same thing that happens with some of the other endeavors that we like to put on for the city and for different organizations. But anyway, thank you much, and I want to thank Rich for everything he's done for the last 8-10 days.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to speak? Okay, we will close public comment and move on to comments from the administration.
Thanks. Knowing that it is going to be a long day for our clerk, I'll try and keep this as brief as possible. Just a reminder, tomorrow is Election Day. Please get out and vote if you haven't done so already. City offices will be closed for normal business. However, it will be open for voting business. So, as such, trash collection is not affected as a result of the city offices being closed tomorrow. CSX Railroad was scheduled to shut down Cherry Hill today. It should be for about a week, and that's between Newburgh and Hicks to repair the much-needed repairs on that railroad crossing. I'd like to recognize all of our veterans and thank them for their service. City offices will be closed in observance of Veterans Day on Monday, November 11th. Again, trash pickup for that week will not be affected as a result of the closure of the city offices on that day. And then finally, Mayor Coleman would like to invite everyone to his next listening tour on Tuesday, November 19th at 5:30 p.m. at the Jefferson Barnes Community Vitality Center. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Attorney McNamara?
Nothing from the city attorney's office.
Okay, we will now begin council comments this evening with Councilman Wishart.
Excellent. Thank you, Council President. November 11th is Veteran Day. Please get out there and thank your friends, your family, your relatives that did the oath of enlistment. As someone who did it twice, it is quite an honor, and I enjoyed every second of it, and I cherish every moment I spent in the military. Going past that point, please get out there and vote, and that's all I got.
Thank you, Councilman. We will now hear from Councilwoman Baumann.
I'm actually going to save my voice and just remind people to get out to vote again, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman. We will now hear from Councilman Hart.
Thank you, Council President. I'll be brief as well. Talking about Veterans Day, so again, please thank a vet. It is November 11th. It's next Monday. To Councilman Wishart, for someone who's done it 4 times, the oath of enlistment, definitely. So do thank your veteran brothers and sisters for all their service. It's much appreciated. This is the time of year when you do thank a veteran, and they'll look forward to it. So give them a call. We appreciate it. In that vein, it is the Veteran Meal Program, just to remind you, at the Wayne Ford Civic League is November 23rd. For any veteran or surviving spouse of a veteran, if you haven't signed up yet, do so. Online, it's easy. It's at the Wayne Ford Civic League, but the website is wayne-ford.com. On the banner there, you'll see Veterans of Westland, and I'm doing it live with you. So the Veteran Meal Program, there's an info link and a registration form. So you can go ahead and register right there on the drop-down. If you're feeling like you want to support this program and the future programs, to the right of that, there's a donate key, so you can go and hit the donate link, and you can donate to the program. I've also been advised to inform everyone that not only are we going to do this annual Thanksgiving Veteran Meal Program, once we're done on November 24th, we are going to start looking at putting it together for Easter as well, add the Easter program. So we're going to try and do this twice a year. So that means the fundraising will be a little more intense every year. But if you haven't ever been there or been a part of it, the eyes, the faces on our veterans, it's totally worth it. So if you are a veteran, please register. If you're a family member of a veteran who lives in Westland here, encourage them to register. Registration ends November 19th, so we do have to lock it down November 19th because it is a big logistical challenge to make sure that we have all the materials there. Thank you, Council President. Good luck tomorrow, Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Councilman. We'll now hear from Councilman Hornbuckle.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it short as well. Just want to tell the clerk and his team, thank you for all you do, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, Pro Tem.
Thank you. I'll also keep mine short. Thank you, Clerk LeBlanc and your team. I voted on Sunday. It was seamless, and I appreciate the amount of election officials that were here. I mean, things were seamless, and I've heard from numerous residents that they said Westland's experience was fantastic.
Good.
Thank you so much. I think we're definitely a model city when it comes to early voting, and good luck tomorrow. Thank you to the veterans, and I really appreciate that it was brought up about Holiday Park too. So I got a call at a text at 1:30 in the morning, like, what do we do? So thank you for those that got into action. I was looped into that as well. Wanted to remind individuals, my last thing is that the applications are due for the Westland Goodfellows 2024 holiday season. You can pick up the applications at Jefferson Barnes Center on Dorsey, and they need to be back by November 15th. So again, November 15th is a deadline. Please, if you are in need this holiday season, pick up an application, get that back to Jefferson Barnes, and you'll be considered for the program. And we are accepting sponsors and people that want to donate. You can go on the website, westlandgoodfellows.org. You can make your donation there or reach out to me if you would like to be involved this season. So that's all I have, Council President. Shortest comments in history from me. Good luck tomorrow, and see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Pro Tem Sampe. I just want to thank the clerk's office for all their tireless work over the last 10 days with the early voting. I know that sometimes the state and the voters put a mandate down on local clerk's offices, but don't always have the resources to back it up they need right away. So lots of mandates come down and a lot of work gets piled on, but thank you, your team, Shannon, everyone's done a really outstanding job. So very much.
For just one moment.
Yes.
I'll expound on it at the next meeting, but along those lines, I wish to thank the city. The city, its administration, its colleagues, its employees, the folks that help us. All of that helped bring together the entire team and our election officials and staff to make it happen. We are fortunate in this town to have the things that we have and the support that we have. And again, I'll offer greater detail at the next meeting. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for you and Shannon and your entire team and all you've been doing. So great job. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Godbout, for helping out on the water main break that was getting out there at 1:32 in the morning. I appreciate that, taking my call on that. Thank you to Councilman Hart, Councilwoman Rakowski, and Vic Barrett, the Wayne Ford Civic League, for getting the annual Veterans Meal Program organized. And thank you to Pro Tem Sampe for getting the Wayne Westland Goodfellows project really off the ground this year, because without it, it may not have happened this year. So appreciate your support. With that, is our motion to adjourn.